It is and was a great pleasure to be able to call Rod and ask Brother Rod to come back and share the message with us today. For those of you that may not remember Brother Rod or may not have met him before, Rod was here right before me, 2010 to 12, correct? Right before I came in, and he and Andrea just did an amazing job, and I know all the church loved him. I still see pictures of that tree that they gave you when y'all left. That still comes up from time to time, and it is just a wonderful joy to have both of them here with us this morning, and it is a pleasure and an honor to turn the pulpit over to you.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, brothers and sisters in Christ.
Good morning.
It's been a while since I've uttered those words in this place. It feels good to do it again.
Amen.
Thank you, choir. I miss sitting here leadership, you decided to invite the old preacher back.
Amen.
Warm welcome to extend it. I don't feel so old, but I know I am old because it only took me 3 months to write a sermon. I used to be able to do it inside of a week. Times they do change. It is a great joy to be able to come back and to worship with you and to share a meal with you and to get to meet those of you I've never met before and to remember the names of those whose names I forgot. I apologize for that. That's what happens when you go and stay away for 5 years. I guess I should have done that. But anyway, thank you very much for the opportunity to come and be with you today. It is a joy and a delight, and I appreciate you being willing to listen to me once again. I invite you to stand as we share together the reading of the gospel lesson. From John's Gospel, the first chapter, the first 5 verses, and from chapter 14, the first 7 verses. And the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things came into being through him, and not one thing came into being without him. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all the people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may be also. And you know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Amen. You may be seated. In the middle 1960s, I decided to follow my father's footsteps, and I enrolled for my 4 years of college experience in St. Bernard College, which is on the grounds of the St. Bernard Abbey in Coleman, Alabama. While I was there, I had plenty of good food to eat. That is one thing that I don't share with other college students. I never, ever had any complaints about the food at St. Bernard, except maybe that there was sometimes too much of it. I got plenty of exercise playing varsity basketball. I made good friends from all of the states east of the Mississippi River, and quite a few from other countries. And while there, I would have to say that I experienced a lot of history, a lot of culture, and a lot of Christian faith from a different point of view. As a Methodist, being in a Roman Catholic community like that was an eye-opener, and I had no idea just how valuable that was going to be, because I had no idea at that point that I was going to one day go to seminary. But those years served me well as I began to explore the history of the church. You see, I was living and studying in a working monastery that dedicated itself each day to the work of education, along with worship and prayer. The traditions I discovered had been practiced by Benedictine monks across the world for over 1,400 years. Those days at St. Bernard continue to influence the way I think, the way I feel, and the way I act, even today, 47 years later. On May 13th, 1979, the college from which I graduated closed its doors as a 4-year liberal arts college. And when I heard the news, I felt as though In fact, Anthony and I met literally in the front door of the church. If you don't believe me, just ask her. We got married in that sanctuary. And it was that church that believed in me enough to recommend me for ordination. When Ninth Street closed, I felt as though a light had gone out, bringing a little more darkness to the world and to myself. I found myself thinking in both instances, now I have no place to go home to. And that lack of a place to go home to now includes a great deal more. It includes churches that I've served as pastor that are no longer gathering for worship. It includes my family home in Coleman. That was the house where my parents were married and where I was nurtured as I visited for summer and Christmas vacations. I just celebrated my birthday on Friday, and I remember every year we would coincide our vacation there so that we could shop for school clothes at my grandfather's store, and we could have a birthday party celebrating whatever year it was of age that I had attained at that point. And I got to thinking about that. I sure miss that homemade ice cream on a summer evening. That was a special place for me. The sale of that house following my grandparents' death brought a little more darkness into my life. And I suspect all of you here today have had similar experiences. Some place you called home for a time suddenly was no longer there for you. This could include the houses in which you led, churches and schools you attended, and the people with whom you shared those times. Yet, if we think about it, our experience, no matter what the loss we sense, pales in comparison to that of those millions of Syrian refugees and all refugees of all the wars throughout history who were uprooted and scattered to the four winds, having to make a new place to live, sometimes thousands of miles from where they called home. Also, there are those folks who never knew a home. The best they could experience was a dysfunctional and sadly, all too often, a deadly family where abuse was more common than love and nurture. We human beings experience all of those things. We get separated from that which we all want, which is a place called home and a family called ours that loves us and cares about us and cares what happens to us. You see, home is much more than a place, no matter how highly we value the house, the neighborhood. Home is that network of relationships that we have treasured through the years. And as I grow older, increasingly I have to contend with the unpleasant experience of saying farewell to friends, classmates, family members, and others who have made a difference for the good in my life. With the news of each death, I feel a little more darkness creeping into my days. It would be easy for any of us, overwhelmed by any one of those experiences, to give into that darkness, coming to believe that it has won, and is only moments from overwhelming us entirely. We yearn for a word of hope, that life is more than that series of losses that leave us with no place to call home and no people to call family. Dr. William Foster, head of the English department at UNA, while I was there, wrote a short story of the home in which he'd grown up in Cited Daisy, Tennessee. He described the annual Christmas tradition he observed of making a journey back to what had been for him a wonderful place, a wonderful home. The details, he related, of the walk he would make up onto that front porch and to the front door into the house and then through each of the rooms brought all to vivid life to the reader. He concluded by saying he wished he could take his readers with him on his next Christmas homecoming. But that could not be. That house had burned to the ground in 1966. You see, every Christmas, he went back in his memory and revisited a place that had nurtured him and sent him out into the world. And even though it was gone physically, it lived in his memory. Of course, we always have our memories of joyous life experiences, and these will bring us comfort in difficult times. That's one of the things I like to do, is to revisit places I've been, people I've cherished over the years whenever things get a little rough. Yet as special as our cherished memories are, we need more to light up our darkness. In the autumn of 1984, I received the news that St. Bernard Abbey had decided to reopen the school, only this time as a high school, prep school. And in doing so, it was resuming the mission that it had undertaken many years before, educating high school students as it had done in the 1930s and 40s. All was not lost. There was still a community there. Homecomings were celebrated each June. On several occasions I would visit, and I was delighted to discover that a lot of the brothers and priests not only remembered me, but they would walk up and call me by name. That's home. On one particular occasion I went back because they were honoring our basketball team. And as I got out of the car and was crossing the parking lot, I noticed a woman and a young man looking kind of puzzled and lost, and our paths crossed, and I offered my assistance whatever I might be able to do. And the woman introduced herself, and I was delighted to discover that I had just met the widow of one of my teammates and their son. And all of a sudden I realized that family was a whole lot more than those guys I'd gone to school with. Those guys I shared those hours of playing basketball on the same team with. I had family there I never knew. A mother and son who were part of the history of all that we shared that day. What a marvelous kind of a feeling. I went into that event with a lot more joy and a lot more hope and a lot more possibility. It was as though a light began to shine a little more brightly. Light had found a way in the darkness. On the one hand, yes, I had lost a teammate. On the other hand, I was suddenly a part of his family. In the late 1990s, my brother, in operating his business, bought a house in Blount County, and it was large enough to accommodate the entire family at Thanksgiving and Christmas. It became the new gathering place that my grandparents' house in Coleman had been before its sale. And as the family would gather there for these holidays, suddenly the light began to increase again in my family experience. Light had once again found a way in the darkness. Now, eventually he sold that house, but when I would go visit him in Charleston, South Carolina, I realized that we didn't have to have a particular house. We could still have family gatherings no matter where they might be, and the light will come on in the darkness. During the closing worship of 9th Street United Methodist Church, the pastor, Gary Heathcock, referred to the church not as a church that had died and was gone forever. He spoke of the DNA of the church, which would be carried to a renamed church on Danville Road. And this Sunday morning, the church at Stone River is now the home for many of the 9th Street folks. Other churches in the area have likewise been infused with that DNA that came from 9th Street United Methodist Church. Its people and its mission. And that idea caused a light to come on again in my mind. life of Jesus and his disciples. Things were not going so well for them now as they once had done. Jesus gathers his company for the Passover meal. He washes their feet, and in so doing he startles them. This is not the way a rabbi is expected to behave. They should be providing the service for him. But he's opening them up to a new definition of what it means to be family. To love each other, to care for each other, to serve each other. He's living out that self-giving in a way that he hopes they will take up in new and energetic and life-giving ways. He goes on to tell them that soon he will no longer be with them. He will be leaving them. Even worse, not only will he die, one of his disciples will betray him, leading to that death. And another of the disciples will deny him. Darkness is looming closely all about them. In the face of all this, Jesus gives his disciples a new commandment: to love one another as he has loved them, to serve one another as he has served them, to love and serve the world as he has done over the course of the years of his ministry. In this way, they will be continuing that sense of family that Jesus created and invited them to be a part of. He goes on to comfort them and encourage them by saying, do not let your hearts be troubled. Don't be afraid. Believe in God and believe in me. Jesus is going to die soon, and nothing can change that. He's going away. The disciples don't know where he's going, even though he tells them they know the place to where he's going. Jesus assures them that he is going to prepare a place for them in his Father's house. And that is not all. Once he has done that, he will return and take them with him, after taking them to himself, so that where he is there, they will be also. He will restore them to his family. He will bring them home. They now have seen God the Father in Jesus. They've seen in Jesus the way, the truth, and the life. And no darkness can overcome that, because it is what transforms all of our living here and all of our living yet to be. In the stage production of Victor Hugo's classic story, Les Miserables, the story is told of a man by the name of Jean Valjean. He's a thief. He's a prisoner for 19 years, working on a chain gang. He's paroled, but rather than live with the shame of being always known as a parolee, he runs. But he encounters the grace and love of a Christian bishop. And he determines, because of having been touched by that grace, to change his life, to become a model citizen, which he does, and to become someone who gives back to the community, which he does as a businessman, and service when he becomes mayor of his town. In 1832, Jean Valjean is caught up in a revolution started by students because they're protesting the miserable conditions, the squalid conditions that the poor are forced to live and work in Paris, and the government seems to have no care about them. And as he gets caught up in that, there's a final battle between the students and the military. And the students are defeated and killed, almost to a man. One of the wounded, a young man named Marius, is lying unconscious but alive. Jean Valjean picks him up, throws him over his shoulder, and carries him to the sewers of Paris to safety. And as he reaches the surface once again, he sings a prayer that God will bring the wounded young man peace and restored health. And most importantly, that God will bring him home in all his meanings. Yet another of the most powerful Psalm lyrics in the Miserables proclaims in the midst of revolution, darkness, and death, to love another person is to see the face of God. Have you ever tried that? looking at another person in love and saying, in this love I can see God. It's kind of like Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. If we could love another person so that it cost us everything we have, we're looking into the face of God as we look into the face of that person we love. Not for what they can give us or what they can do for us, but what we can give them and do for them. That's family. That's home. We will always face loss. We will always face uncertainty. We will always have to contend with darkness in this life. Yet Jesus, the light, will always find a way to restore our losses, to comfort us in our fear, and to bring the light of a new morning to whatever darkness encloses us. In him who is light, there is always a way to overcome all the darkness that will ever threaten us. In him there is always a way to gather the family in a home that transforms us in this life and that will embrace us in the life to come. And the light was the light of all people, a light that shines in the darkness. And the darkness cannot overcome it. Amen. Let us share a prayer together and a grace for our meal together. We thank you, O God, for your presence with us this and all days. We thank you for your promise of a home and a hope and a life and a life. We thank you that your word can touch us in the depths of our being and open us to new experiences, new relationships, new definitions of what it means to be at home and family. We thank you that we are able now to go and to share a table. We thank you for the food that we will share, that we will be nurtured in body. And we thank you for your presence sitting at the table with us, that we will be nurtured in spirit. And may we go out of here changed people so that everyone who sees us and speaks with us, everyone who experiences relationship with us will know that we have been with you and that we love them in your name, bringing your energy to bear on their lives so that their darkness might be shattered and their light might be experienced. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I found a hymn this morning is Amazing Grace. I was going to sing One More Day in the middle of it. We don't have the words, but we're going to sing Amazing Grace. So let's all stand as we sing together.
Oh
SPOC members as well as other church leaders, there is a meeting at Edgemont United Methodist in Florence on Tuesday night, beginning at 6 o'clock, called Bright Spots. The bishop and the DS have chosen Rogersville as one of 25 churches in the district that they want to help focus on, help provide resources and ideals and thoughts about helping our church to continue to reach out in the community and to grow as well. So I invite the leaders of the church, SPOC, this is something we've already been talking about, so I hope that you will join us. We'll meet here about 5:15. The church bus is already being used that evening, so we'll have to go in cars, but we'll meet here about 5:15 and then travel on over to Edgemont. Last but not least, we need someone to answer phones Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday morning. John is having some heart trouble and is having some tests done, so obviously Chris wants to be with him. So if you're able to come answer the phones in the office Monday or Tuesday morning, we would greatly appreciate it. Brother Rod, I'm going to ask if you and Andrea would go ahead and dismiss back to the Northex as I do the closing prayer so that you can have a moment, and as each one goes out this morning, they can speak with the two of you. Let us bow our heads together. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the chance to be in your house again. Thank you for the love and the grace that is so abundant in our lives each day. Thank you for how you improve our lives. Let us go forward now, Lord God, and use each of us to speak your gospel and to improve the lives of the people we meet, that lives would be changed, souls would be saved, disciples would be made. For it is in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.